Welcome back, and today we've got a unboxing of a new kit, and this is of course the Airfix 148th Canadair Sabre F.4. This is an all new tooling. It's just become available here in Canada and North America, so it's been one that's been on my radar for a while, so I thought we'd take a look at it together and have a look, see what Airfix has been up to lately. So this is the box, standard Airfix box, good size, I'll say that. Beautiful artwork once again, as is the norm, showing two machines from number 3 Squadron RAF around 1953, probably over Germany. So that's the box. Let's go through the components. First of all, the instruction sheet. Usual Airfix new style construction sheet, good quality. Many steps, but each step is an individual thing, basically. So as you can see, step 1 and then step 2 builds upon step 1, which is shown in red. Fairly straightforward assembly. If we go on through, we can see again more assembly at the front end. And then we also have the first option here, which is you can decide to build the gun bays open or closed, and they have all the guns and ammunition chutes and all that sort of thing. As we go through, multi-steps there. And then here is the air brakes, if you wish to build those open or close. Moving on to assembly, left and right. Nothing really that, at least on my first pass, shows as it's going to be a problem. You can also build it open or closed, the landing gear bays. If you do, they do have a couple of extra steps to do. And there's also a bit here where they mention if you build the model with the gun doors open, cut the leading edge of the wingtips off. So I'm not sure what that's about. I'll have to do some research. I'm sure some Sabre aficionados will know the answer to that. And then, of course, if you want to put the fuel tanks on, you have to drill a 0.8mm hole. That shows putting the wings, connecting it to the fuselage, tail planes. They even show you the angle of what the tail plane should be, so that's very nice. Again, putting the wheel bays in. As I said, even a single step just for putting one wheel together, a second one for another one, and another one for the nose wheel. So although this goes into 80 plus steps, it actually looks like it's going to be a fairly simple build from what I can see. And last but not least, obviously, the canopy, which we'll look at in a minute. So that's the instructions for it. Moving on, we'll go on to the excellent decal set. And I wonder if our good friend Jonathan Mock was involved in these ones, because they look absolutely gorgeous. Both number 3 and number 4 Squadron, clearly defined. This was one of the issues that came up with this kit. For the first time ever, I bought this kit from my local hobby shop, which is Brofdale Hobbies in London, Ontario. Give them a shout out. And for the first time ever, when I opened a kit, there was an issue. In this case, these decals were missing from the one I had originally. So took it back, and Richard, the owner, happily gave me another one to make up for it, and he's going to take care of getting the return processed. So there we go. So if you are within range, driving distance or whatever, of your local hobby shop, please try and support them. They can't survive on just glue and paint alone, so it's definitely worth giving a try. So yeah, needless to say, this is just a gorgeous set of decals. I really like this number 3 Squadron, which I think that's the one I'm going to do. Next up, we have the color callouts. Color callouts and main decal placement. So again, Airfix has been doing this. They also have some research notes here where they're talking about when they were looking at pictures and that. They were trying to figure out, if there's little idiosyncrasies about them. So they have notes here, but even, for example, under this one, a separate decal for the code letter is provided for modelers who may wish to mask and paint their own tail bands. So, as we were looking there, the decals for number 3 Squadron have the K built in, but if you want to do your own masking and painting of the stripe, they do provide a separate set of decals there for you. So nice touch on Airfix's part. Obviously the callouts are Umbro callouts, but they're fairly easily converted. That was number 3. This is number 4. Very similar scheme, just slightly different tail art, etc. And again, some more research notes. So very nicely done there. Next up we have the Stencil Data. Those of you who have built or seen the Airfix 172nd Phantom from a few years back will recognize something like this. A lot of stencils come with these aircraft now. And they're really trying to make sure they capture all of them. So quite a few here. This goes up to 120. So, you know, a good number of stencils, and you can decide how you want to build it. If you want to put them all on or not, or follow the 5-foot rule, whatever works for you. So quite a few, and they're very clear from the decal sheet. Okay, on to the stuff you really want to see, and that's the parts themselves. So my other criticism of this kit was that all the main plastic parts were packaged in one bag. So they had a chance to shift around, and a few parts came off. No damage from what I can see. The clear parts, thankfully, were packed in their own. So this is the Canopy, and as you can see, it looks pretty good. No real surprises there. Includes the gun sight, the front. There's a little bit of fog or something. I'm going to have to look at that. We'll see if we can get that out, but nothing that's unreasonable. I think a little bit of polish and that we'll be fine with. Okay, the first part is the top of the wings, and this shows the fine, fairly crisp panel lines, obviously recessed these days. There we go, there's a good view. I can't attest to the accuracy. As I said, I'm not a Sabre aficionado, but they seem to look fine to me. Certainly nice little detailing. I can't get over, and again, it's really tough to see on the camera, the fine, you know, rivet holes in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. I adjust the light. Maybe there we go. So yeah, very cool. Next up we have one of the sprues with the fuselage halves, and as I said, the gates are very thin, so they came out. So at least that should make clean out hopefully easier. So if we look to here, you'll see the fine detail on the side of the fuselage with the various openings for things. And then we move on to the wing bottom, the fuel tanks, and obviously the other side of the fuselage. So fairly nice looking. It's a good size for 48, but it's still comparable to like a Spitfire or something. They were like, I always love the F-86 because it just looks like a fighter. Before all the radar and when they flew themselves. Next up is the various small bits for the seats. As I said, one of the cockpit seats, they gave you an option, came off. The gates, and there was a couple other things here, but the detail is very good. So yes, you do get a pilot, and it's actually pretty nicely molded. I probably won't put it in, but again, for those of you that wants to. Here are the 50 cal guns. They're not bad. Again, I'm sure there's people out there that will probably explore aftermarket options for opening up the bay, but they're not bad. The ammunition belts, the chutes, etc. Again, good for that scale. Then we have various other components to do with the engines, the interiors, details, landing gear, etc. One thing I'm very impressed about is the quality of the landing gear wheels. They look really good for plastic. Again, resin, 3D printed, maybe you'll do better, but I'm actually pretty impressed with those. There you go. There's a good look at what you're getting, the various options there. And then the last sprue contains the various engine parts, access doors, things like that. So again, we'll just give you a detailed look of some of the interior, and we'll turn them over in a second so you can see what you're getting. That's about the most extreme injection mark, but I think that'll fairly easily come out. They seem to be in pretty logical points. Not perfect. Some people will complain, but I think that'll easily come out with a micro chisel, so I'm not too worried. Landing gear doors, again, the hidden parts seem to be where the ejector pin marks are for the air brakes, etc. There's the front end nose. Again, fairly simple construction. Nothing too exciting. And then the cockpit tub itself with even a little tiny throttle handle there. So definitely, if those of you who want to super detail, you can go nuts. But again, more than adequate for out of the box. So yeah, overall, looks like it's going to be a good kit. I have seen some examples of them being built already in Europe, because as I say, they've been out for a while in Europe, and it looks like it's a good kit. It's right in the size I'm looking for these days. And again, it's a subject I've always loved, the Sabre. And I know they were in Canadian service, etc. But I think I am going to probably build it more or less out of the box. I might add some seat belts. And I think the number 3 squadron, it just looks too good to pass up. It's a nice looking machine. So I think that's the one I'm going to build. So that's my review. You can find it in Canada from about $6.55 to $60 and up, which I think is good value for a kit like this. You're going to get many hours of enjoyment out of it. So definitely check it out. Again, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you like this, you'll like the podcast as well if you're not already listening. ScaleModelPodcast.com, where we talk about this and an awful lot of other things. So for now, this is Stuart, wishing you be safe, thank you, and be well.